All right, this is the last big thing for our measurement unit, at least dealing with imperial. I'm going to talk about two things today. The first thing we're going to talk about is mixed measurements. So you've worked with these a little bit. That's where you get stuff where you say like feet and inches. Now, some questions will give this to you, but some questions are just going to give you an amount, like 5.75 feet, and you got to turn that into feet and inches. The second thing we're going to talk about is fractional measurements. So that's where we're talking about, just say you converted and you found out, oh, we got 9.6 inches. It's hard to measure that using an actual ruler because it doesn't have 0.6 showing on your ruler, it has fractions. So we're going to be able to take that and turn it into something with eighths, because that way we can see exactly how long it is on a ruler and we can measure how big it should be. So let's do mixed measurements first. I'm going to walk through this example. This is completely your handout, so you can follow along if you want. So let's look at this. Okay, the starting question gave us 5 3/4 feet. What we're going to do right away, we're going to turn that into a decimal, because working with decimals is so much easier. So I do 3 divided by 4 equals 0.75. So that means I have 5.75 feet. Cool. Now what I'm going to do, I have it split into the two. I have the 5 feet that I'm going to leave alone, and I'm just going to deal with this decimal and turn that into inches instead. So now what I'm going to do is use my chart. And on my chart, like we used last video, talked about how to turn from feet to inches. And we actually had to multiply by 12. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take that 0.75 and I'm going to multiply it by 12. I used 0.8, and I shouldn't have rounded, I should have left it at 0.75. But, so I do 0.8 times 12, and it gave me 9.6, cool. So that 9.6 is going to be in inches. So now I have my answer. The original 5 feet I started with, plus that 0.75 turned into the 9.6 inches. So the idea is, if you measure this, it would be 5 feet. Okay, those are each feet, and then you have 9 little inches. Okay, that's how long the thing is. 5 feet plus 9.6 inches at the end. Let's do some more. Okay, so this one is 20 inches, and I'm going to convert it to feet and inches. So when I do 20 inches converted to feet, I have to do 20 divided by 12, and that's going to give me 1.667 feet. So I'm going to break that into, I have 1 foot plus 0.667 feet. And then to convert this into inches, I have to multiply by 12 using my chart. So when I multiply that by 12, I get 8. Or depending if you round it, you get something very close to 8 inches. So when we look at the answer, we got 1 foot and 8 inches, which is what the answer was right there. Let's do one more, and the answers for this are actually at the bottom, so you can try the rest yourself. So let's do this 105 inches. Think to yourself what you would do first. Okay, I'm going to convert it to feet because I want to know it's in feet and inches. So I'm going to take my 105 and I'm going to divide it by 12 because that's what it says to do in my chart. So I do 105 divided by 12 gave me 8.75 feet. So that means we have 8 feet plus 0.75 feet. Now let's convert just that 0.75 to inches. To do that, we have to do times 12 using my chart. And that actually gives me, 9 inches. So the answer is going to be 8 feet and 9 inches. Cool. We can check our answer. Yay. Good. Okay. You should try these other ones. Check the answers at the bottom. Make sure you're doing them right. All right. On this other one, we're going to now deal with fraction measurements. So what you might have noticed a lot is that in these final answers that we got like 9.6 inches. Or in this one we got, actually those two worked okay. But sometimes you will get a decimal. And so what you're going to have to do is you're going to have to be able to turn it from that decimal into eighths. Remember, on our rulers, those were the little notches, right? So if it was like this is 0, this is 1. There's a big notch in the middle for half, and then quarters, and then eighths were the short little ones. So we want to find out exactly, instead of 0.6, because I don't know what 0.6 is, 5/8 is like this. Because we went over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 notches. All right, so let's go through the process here in this first example up at the top. We started with 9.6. And again, we're going to split it into, we have the 9 whole inches and that 0.6. What I'm going to then do is I'm going to take that 0.6 and I'm actually going to multiply it by 8. And the reason we multiply it by 8 is because we want to find out how many eighths there are. So we do times 8. When I did times 8, I got 4.8. So we don't just write 4.8 because that would be bigger. We write 4.8 eighths. That's what that means. To have it on the bottom means 4.8 eighths. Okay? So we don't really like to have a decimal when we're rounding, and because like 4.8 is kind of hard to see, so I'm going to round it to 5/8, and that's pretty close. That's good enough, and that's our final answer. 9 inches that we had originally, plus that 5/8. Let's do a couple more. 2.4 inches. So I'm going to split that into 2 inches plus 0.4 inches. Okay. Then I want to turn this into eighths, so I'm going to do times 8. 0.4 times 8 gives me 3.2 out of 8. Okay. 3.2 out of 8 is close to 3/8. So that means that's my answer. Whoa. Yeah, that's okay. 2 inches and 3/8. That was wrong. My bad. Okay. Let's look at this one. 21.7. So I'm going to do the 21 inches plus 0.7 inches. I'm going to do the 0.7 times 8 to give me my answer. It gave me 5.6. I'm going to round that up to 6. Okay, so that's going to be 6/8. So 21 inches and 6/8 inches. Now the only problem with this one we got to be careful of, 6/8 can actually reduce. That's the same as saying 3/4. So I'm going to say 21 inches, 21 3/4 inch. Cool. And that's what I did right in the answer key. Sorry about that one, my bad. Okay, so that's the process. Those are the two skills, whether it's being able to change something like 5 feet into 5 feet and how many inches, or taking something like 9.6 inches and being able to say it in eighths so you could actually measure it using a ruler if you had to. And that's it.